Good morning, everybody. This is Carrie Getz with Strategicom, and we're here with another episode of our podcast series. Today, we're talking to Michael Evans from Salute Mission Critical. And Michael, thanks for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And so feel free to introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do, and go from there.
Yeah, great. So Michael Evans in the Chicago area, and my role, I work with Salute Mission Critical. I just joined in December, but I took the opportunity there because of I really liked their mission, which was to provide veterans who don't have work, to get them brought into the Salute organization, get them trained and educated, and actually deploy them out to do some mission critical work with the data centers. So my current role is I'm actually the vice president of our client relationships. So in essence, what I do, I'm responsible for a handful of clients, really Salute's overall relationship with them. And some of those are national, multinational, or global clients. And so my role is obviously to build out our relationship with them and actually provide the services that we do offer for them.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about what you did when you were enlisted. What branch of the service were you in? What was your kind of daily duties there?
Sure. So I was actually in college at the time. And, I was kind of one of those guys that was a good student in high school, but got to college and wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. And really liked the messaging of the Marine Corps, the discipline, get myself in good shape and really kind of figuring out, what life has to offer down the road. So I figured, with that complement and the college education that I was going towards, that I can kind of do both. So I actually was a 0331 heavy machine gunner, and I signed up for the Marine Reserves, and that allowed me to not only get the military experience and the discipline and all that, but also complete a college education at the same time. So I think really when I got out of Parris Island and I got through all my job training, it really kind of got me really laser focused into, some things that I wanted to do, which was really to kind of get into sales and with the discipline and the work ethic and all the things that I learned in the military. It really complemented the education that I came out of college with.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you for your service. We certainly appreciate that. I have a nephew that's a Marine.
Right. Oh, thanks.
Yeah, there's definitely some parallels. And I think what Salute is doing is a really great thing, getting people more in this industry. But tell us, when you started college, did you really think you'd be working in Mission Critical?
No, actually, not at all. I started out of college and worked for the rental industry, actually renting cars to customers. And so I put my work ethic together there and long hours. And then really a buddy of mine got me into selling infrastructure solutions. So I started as really on the desk and inside, just learning how to, and that work ethic and the discipline and the showing up and mission complete, I was able to quickly, outpace some of my competition, which got me into kind of an outside selling role. So I was selling infrastructure solutions to commercial clients, but then, even, IT rooms back in the day. And then I got into on the manufacturing side of that. And then I kind of went back into distribution. So I spent probably out of the 20 plus years that I've been in professional selling, in actually all kinds of different capacities, I probably spent maybe 18 or 17 of those in really selling IT type hardware. And then really, I actually had a really large job. I had a big team. And I had a very, very big budget on an annual basis for a leading global distributor working with mission critical clients. And when I really saw what Salute was doing and the fact that they were putting hundreds and thousands of veterans that didn't have jobs, some of them were homeless, that we brought them in, providing with the onboarding and understanding and know-how, got them OSHA trained and educated in data centers, and really put them out to service these clients. I realized that that's exactly what I want to be a part of, a small company that actually is doing the really good things for the mission critical space, and I wanted to be a part of it. So I took a chance, started over with Salute in December, and it's been an unbelievable ride for me. I love what I do. I love the fact that we are providing, putting people to work, but also providing those hyperscaler colos that can't find good talent, to finding them the right talent to help them do work too.
That's part of the reason that we've actually included so many Salute folks in this podcast. We certainly agree with what they're doing too. I think it's an amazing service that they provide, and they do amazing work. Mm-hmm. Customers love them, and kind of got to make your job selling pretty easy too.
Well, you did bring up a good point. If we're not providing the right tools and the training and education and continuing education with our technicians, all the things that I'm promising and committing that we can do really good by these clients is going to be for naught. But you're right. I mean, it makes my job a lot easier, if you will, that we've got a great team. We all work really together. It's kind of like the trenches, in the Marines. You all have to work together, and the chain is only as strong as the weakest link. So we all have to, put in the effort to actually make sure that we provide a good service for our clients.
So you touched on a few different careers here, and since part of the reason for these podcasts is a career fair, talking about what your typical day is, kind of what you do, and obviously, not everybody has the degree, whether they went through the service to get the degree. There's a lot of folks coming out of the service without a degree. Mm-hmm. Trades, I've said this before on the podcast, and I'll say it again. If it weren't for the trades, none of us would have a job. So, because nothing would get built. So tell us a little bit about some of those roles, between selling infrastructure and working for distribution and what you do now. Kind of talk us through what your typical days were and how it's morphed and changed into the role you have now.
Yeah, I and I'm not going to say it was because I was putting I had made all the right decisions, but for some reason I'll call a little bit of a good decisions and a lot of luck. But I basically started out in kind of a retail selling environment, but it got me to, really kind of a manufacturing type selling environment where I was selling to all kinds of different types of clients. And then I got really kind of into the distribution world of that, where I was selling to multiple clients, but more taking a lot of manufacturers and really providing, instead of one manufacturer, providing a lot of manufacturers and selling to clients. And then really, so between, I think, the retail, the manufacturing, and the distribution, I was able to see kind of the whole chain of how to, things all work together with the contractors, with the retail, with how it all kind of comes together. Really gives me a good overview of when I'm working at Salute. I have the ability I've been in those situations. I understand when I do work with a client that it's more than me, that there is people that have to deliver the product, that people have to, there might be contractors like us that are involved in that, helping that client. So I think it gave me a pretty good experience seeing different types of companies. And then I think the other thing is that, I started really on the desk. So I understand what the inside people have to go through to kind of get those orders out or to return products. But I also have been I've been in a global sales role where I was, really working with a client that had maybe multiple needs and really just understanding a bigger picture of more strategic rather than a transactional. So I don't know if that's a real clear, overview of it, but I feel like I've had so many different roles that really put me in so many different situations to really help me understand what clients have to go through just to get really an end product. And I think that's helped me, be successful, but also, be able to listen to what the customer's really wanting.
As I talk to different people, some people say that, well, their resume is not that great because they're a generalist. They've done a lot of different roles, but I would argue that I think all of that builds on your experience, and things go wrong. I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect project. We all know that, but understanding from the manufacturer's perspective what their holdup might be, and understanding from a distribution perspective, why they might not have the product on the shelf and, working on the retail side and understanding kind of what some of those hiccups can be, I think definitely helps when you're working with customers because I think you react better when you have a better picture of what could be going wrong, right?
Sure.
And I think it helps with the communication too, because like I said, stuff goes wrong. We all know it goes wrong, and it's how you deal with it that really makes a difference at the end of the day. But being able to communicate that clearly, it definitely calms down the end user when their project is about to be impacted by something that's not doing what it's supposed to do, right?
Correct.
The military helps you there too.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, kind of turning it, maybe not myself, but, we just spent a couple of days, in the field, working with some clients. And, I had an opportunity to meet a lot of our operations team. And, I think really it gave me another great, visual of what we're doing at Salute. We have a bunch of different technicians that are out there, and they're asking the same questions. Is that I want to do more with Salute, or maybe it's for us. We don't mind if we prepare them and train them and educate them, and they end up with one of our hyperscale clients. So they all had different questions around the room with what's next for us. And I think the great thing that Salute does is that, we may bring military veterans in. We may start them, doing some rudimentary just data center cleaning and whatnot, but we give them the tools to, get them other educations and additional trainings throughout their career, or have them shadow other individuals within our organization so that they can learn other things, how to do, containment, how to do structured cabling. We'll put them through BICSI certified trainings. And it's great because we get to see a lot of our technicians internally, grow into either a role with our client or actually become like PMs or area managers within our organizations. And I think we have a lot of those examples, which I'm excited.
Yeah. And there's a lot of ways to learn. Not everybody is suited for a 4-year degree. There's certainly a lot of paths into this industry. And, that's part of this whole series is to kind of expose people to some of the different jobs that you can do. Mm-hmm. From a sales perspective, what would you say are some of the skills that you think really help you in sales?
Yeah, I think for me, for sales, I've been kind of doing this a while now, but I think a lot of it is just, really the basics. It's like even when I start my typical day doesn't start like a lot of people in sales. I mean, my typical day starts sometimes on a Sunday or the night before. That's how my day a lot of times starts. I want to make sure that I'm prepared for every one of my meetings that's coming up, and that I have the right questions, that I have the right material that I want to cover with the client. All those things, they happen not the day of, they happen several days before. And I think, that's what I've learned a lot is the proper preparation. And I think with the military and actually experience with a lot of clients over the years, it's really best prepared me to actually be successful with my clients and understand, hey, I want to understand your needs, but I'm also prepared to actually discuss, how we can best help you.
Yeah. And I mean, you guys do offer quite a bit of services. So if you picked, one of your bigger customers, what types of services does Salute offer that, you can kind of piggyback and sort of radiate within that customer and expose them to?
Yeah, I think so. We've been around for 6 years. We actually just became the Fast 500 by Duluth. We grew over 600%, so we're growing. But when we bring a lot of individuals into our organization, or even when we started, we just we couldn't just run out there and be ultra successful with our client doing really high level experience type of things. So we started really with the basics, which is really doing data center cleanings or actually providing smart hands to that client. So whether they need to move racks around or whether they need physical security on their sites, that's kind of how we started. And really the cleaning and really staff AUG services where we provide, individual technicians, it really is still a big part of our company. But I think really now, when I talk to a client, it's good because it's more now consultative for us because we've done not only the cleanings and we've not only done some of those staff services, but we've actually gone into higher level things where we're actually providing structured cabling for our clients. We're doing, cage build outs, containment. We actually have a lot of our technicians that are running co-locations or hyperscaler data centers. We're running 7x24 coverage. Those are our technicians. So I guess I really wouldn't say we have a sweet spot per se, except really what we do really well is providing good talent that could do multiple different things for our client, which makes them extremely efficient with actually getting things done at their sites.
Data center cleaning has actually come up on a couple of these calls. So tell everybody what's involved in data center cleaning, because I think it's important that everybody knows it's not just running a broom out there on the floor.
Right. So, yeah. So, I mean, I'm probably not the expert on all that we do, but I think, from an operational standpoint, you've got to, I think the great thing about bringing in the veterans is that the veterans are used to being in critical environments. They're used to actually understanding, how to do take orders, how to complete a mission and actually do it properly. And I think those are the things that we see in a data center cleaning versus just a commercial building, is that you've got to be aware of your environment. You've got critical hardware. You've got clients that, critical clients that really can't be down ever. And so when bringing in the veterans who understand, we've been in critical environments, whether that's in the military and completed those missions, there's a lot to really, know in a data center to not touch. And
right.
But again, I think the thing that I like the best is that, whether we're doing a data center clean or other things, is that we've had a lot of success with our personnel because, these folks are used to working under, long hours, hard conditions, but they're able to show up, they're able to complete the mission, all the different things. And the other thing is too, is that, not to get into other things, but I think this is important, is we also have a software tool at Salute that actually locks down a lot of those processes. So what it allows is that a consistency of service for our customers, but it also, when our technicians got in, we can basically customize that to the client to say, hey, when you do a cleaning, we want you to start with a safety briefing. So no one, we're cognizant of people not getting hurt, but we want we want you to swab this and we don't want you to touch this. We can really kind of lock down all those processes in the tool. And then the customers can get exactly what they want every time.
It's really important for people to understand that when you do clean a critical environment, there's a lot that comes into play, not lifting up too many tiles in one section and HIPAA filters to make sure that all the dust comes out of there. And that's something that a lot of people don't actually do in their data centers. And really, you're supposed to do it at least once a year. But not everybody does that. So, it's one of those critical pieces that kind of goes by the wayside. People don't really think about.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It is definitely one of the things people do forget about. But at the end of the day, if you have a dirty environment or your filters aren't replaced in a timely fashion, that gets your airflow in properly, which means your critical equipment has to run harder and hotter. What's your chances of that breaking down? Is chances you going down. So something as simple as, dirty air in a dirty environment, it really can have a drastic effect on the performance of your data center.
Sure. And, all that dust builds up static too. But I could tell you from experience, I've gone through and done audits, and under a raised floor, you see things like, boxes of Christmas decorations and 6 packs of beer right in front of the chiller because it gets nice and cold. All those things that are not supposed to be there.
Well, and interesting too is that we not only do, operational cleans, we do get into post-construction cleans. So our folks do actually see a lot of that crazy stuff on a regular basis where you just can't believe what people left over. But so we'll do that as well.
Out of sight, out of mind.
You got that right.
When you start with a customer, let's talk a little bit about the sales cycle. Because it's not like, that somebody just walks in and you sell them a phone or you sell them a widget. When you start engaging with a customer and you sit down and you have the conversations and figure out kind of what they're going to need and what they're going to do, it doesn't stop there. So let's talk about what happens after they say, okay, this is great. Let me sign on the dotted line. How do you carry forward that whole sales cycle through, obviously there's project managers, but you don't disengage at the point that they've signed on the dotted line.
Yeah, and exactly right. As my, in my role is, I really own the overall relationship of the clients. So, that's never goes away. I'm always cognizant of what we're doing, where we're doing it, because I ultimately I'm responsible for that relationship. So yeah, I mean, when a relationship happens, like you said, once we uncover there's a need, the customer wants to move forward. For me, I'm kind of that, I don't know what the word is almost that single point of contact. And then really if it's, quoting, I bring in the inside team. If it's then we, like you said, we go to then, I want to move forward with it. We get a commitment from that client and then we bring in the proper resources. And if it's actually, hey, we'd like to do a cleaning or something, basic like that, what we do is I get the operation team involved. We got a commitment from the customer. We figure out obviously all the billing and all that different things if we don't already have that set up. And then at that point, we basically schedule, we look at exactly what the job description is or what we're actually bid, what we actually want to complete. And then we actually ensure that we have the technicians that have the skill set that actually can perform that. And then we actually then would assign them and schedule that work to be done based on, what's best for the client, what's best for, how we can kind of schedule that in and agree upon a good date. And then at that point, we have the technicians. We'll assign generally a PM or an area manager in that area to ensure that, everything runs smoothly with the job. And then, once it's completed, we basically document every day, whether that's our tool that, as I described before, that actually manages all the step-by-step process. We actually provide that day-to-day record that's signed off by the client that we're actually performing on schedule, and the work that we are doing is actually getting done to their satisfaction. And then at the end of the day, we close out the job. We, obviously bill out the client, and then we have a reportable of all the things that we completed, signed off by the client that they're happy and pleased with the work that we've done. And I would say that, I mean, candidly, it's probably that way with that or anything else we do. I mean, if we're, building out a huge cage or, doing a rack migration, it's going to be somewhat the similar process. We basically, when we did the proposal, we matched up really someone who actually can do exactly what the job description is on that. And then we basically roll that out the same exact way. And then for us, I mean, we have obviously me as this tip of the spear. We have a back office for all the billing and all the other administrative things, the contracts. And then we also have, not only technicians all across not only the U.S., but also internationally now. But we get them assigned to do the work. And then we have really PMs, area managers, which actually escalates up into head of operations and global operations. So we have enough checkpoints throughout that process to ensure that the customer gets exactly the end product.
So really, instead of sales, it's more customer relationship management, I think, expectation management from start to finish.
Right. Yep. And, and I spent, I'm fortunate. I've done some national, I've done some local, I've done all kinds of different selling, but I was fortunate in my last role. I was with a global Fortune company that I was in charge of not only handling global accounts myself, but also having a team that I managed to support other clients. And, global, I always said global is way different than just working with a local client. The local client has a need or needs, but global needs, you have to look strategically of how do you roll that out on a global basis or national basis. And those are a lot more, like you said, the hiccups and crazy things that could come into play. You need to understand what those could be. And so, yeah. And it's a bigger picture instead of just we'll say an order versus, actually providing an overall service.
Yeah, I've done a lot of that global stuff. It's not just 8 to 5 either. 'Cause, time zones change. Sometimes you're talking to somebody and it's a completely different day. Right. So, yeah. But it does make project timing and all that challenging. So if you could pick, the top 3 things you just love about being in the data center mission critical space, what would you say? It's
funny. I was on my way home yesterday from Seattle, and a real good lifelong buddy, best man at my wedding, called me, and he was kind of complaining about he's in the education, he's a teacher, highly successful teacher, but he was talking about they've been on strike and they've had some layoffs, and he started asking me about my job again, and I said, you know what, I absolutely love the fact that I took a big move to go to Salute. I love the fact that I'm actually in this industry where I'm supporting hyperscale and colo. And he said, well, why is that? And I said, well, to be honest with you, this is probably the only recession recession-proof industry that I can possibly think of. And in fact, I said, I remember years ago when I was working in this space, I remember the numbers that were thrown across me, which I can't remember all of them, but it was a 20% year-on-year growth for hyperscalers. It was 16% year-on-year for the co-location, and everyone's racing to the cloud, and I said, well, all that is basically the industry I'm in. So I love the fast pace. I love the recession-proofness of it. I love working with different clients. And absolutely the compliment of working with Salute and providing a great service for those folks that actually need the people that we're actually training and educating. I just love everything about this space. And I don't know, I've been passionate about infrastructure for so many years. So I think the opportunity for me to learn about other things too is that maybe I don't know enough about hack or cracks or other things, but I know fiber optics, and I know outside plant, and and racks and deployments, and it gives me an opportunity to learn a lot more as well. So I feel like to kind of summarize that, I feel the recession proofness, the fact that there's always opportunities, the fact that it's growing and it's going to continue to grow, it gives me a great career path for me and my family. And I just like that every day I wake up and it's just there's constantly something else I can do or can do to support a good client. So and obviously being at a good home. So those are the things I think really makes me pretty happy to be where I am.
Yeah, it's definitely an ever-changing industry. If you don't like what you're doing, all you got to do is turn about 2 inches to the left, and there's something else you can get really good at. And turn about 2 inches to the left again, and there's some other stuff you can get really good at.
Exactly right. Yeah, exactly right.
So what would you tell the next generation coming in, or vets coming back, or, do you have any sort of pay it forward advice that you'd like to pass on before we conclude here today?
Well, I mean, I guess from a veteran standpoint, I had an opportunity to talk to some, like I said, I was with one of our operations team early in the week. And it was, to be honest with you, I was the only sales guy in that room. So I probably was supposed to shut my mouth the whole time, which I did do a pretty good job of, even though it's difficult. But I think the thing my advice to the ones that were in in that room is, my job as a salesperson is to continue to sell and grow client relationships so I can keep putting, you folks to work. And then I think for all of them, being at Salute or coming out of the military and coming into this industry of there's just plenty of opportunities. There's plenty of opportunities to get education, take advantage of it. So for us at Salute, my 2 cents to them is that, so what, you're doing cleaning today? We have the tools. You could get into, Schneider's University or DC Pro or all these other things that we have available for them to continue their education. And then, they can take that and then learn how to do, hey, I want to, can I build out a containment and be shadowed with someone? So I think this industry offers a lot of education, a lot of opportunity. And I just would say if I was coming out of the military or if I was coming out of the college even, I would absolutely try to pursue an opportunity in the hyperscale or data center industry.
Yeah, there's lots of paths to learning, and everybody learns differently. And that was one of the things that I really liked about the Salute model is there is a lot of on-the-job training. There's a lot of apprenticeship type learning. And, this industry moves so fast. There's a lot of the kids coming out of school still have to go get certified because it just changes that fast. And curriculum doesn't change every 6 months like this industry does. So, lots of things to learn and lots of ways to learn. Well, I absolutely appreciate your time today. Look forward to continued conversations with some more of the good folks at Salute. But again, thank you for your service. We certainly appreciate your taking the time to give us a chat.
Sounds great. Thanks, Carrie. I appreciate your time.
Thanks.
And for the rest of you, we certainly appreciate your time listening to this podcast series. We hope you're finding it helpful. We always welcome comments and feedback. Feel free to share this for your outreach programs to those in schools. And we look forward to speaking to you on our next edition of the podcast. Have a great day.